Overwatch 2 Retail Patch Notes, May 9, 2023. Event Updates. New event, Starwatch, Galactic Rescue. Battle for the fate of the galaxy in this new 4-point assault mode. Side with the Watcher Rebels alongside the mighty Bonebreaker to rescue 3CH0 from the Infinite Galactrius starship. Or serve the Infinite Empire and use the starship's security systems to defend against the intruders. Your choice will decide the fate of the galaxy, for whichever side wins more battles by the end of the event will reign supreme. Complete event challenges to unlock limited-time cosmetics, like the Asteroid Wrecking Ball Epic skin, as well as up to 50,000 Battle Pass XP. Battle for Olympus returns. To celebrate Zeus Junker Queen's victory from Season 2's Battle for Olympus event, we are bringing back the game mode for a limited time, including an all-new Team Deathmatch version. To further commemorate the victors of Season 2, a statue of the god herself has been erected in Ilios. General updates. Ping system. Group up can now be used while dead. Added a new setting to controls -communication -ping options -enable contextual comms wheel. When enabled, this setting changes group up and need healing to use alternate comms when aiming at allies. This setting is off by default. Junker Queen can now ping targets through surfaces that her knife is stuck in the same way that Zenyatta can ping targets his Discord is attached to. Push Game Mode Update. The respawn time for players is increased by 2 seconds from 10s to 12s while their team's forward spawn location is activated. Developer comments, forward spawn locations were proving to be too advantageous for the team with the lead, making it a bit too difficult for the disadvantaged team to mount a comeback. Matchmaking. MMR decay system has received multiple improvements aimed at more quickly and accurately recalibrating players when they return from a long period of inactivity.
The 2023 competitive deathmatch season begins on May 16th. Hero updates. Tank. Junker Queen. Developer comments, these changes increase Junker Queen's frontline presence by increasing her self-healing and offensive sustainability. We've also increased Jagged Blade's projectile size so it's more consistent to land. Scattergun. Maximum ammo increased from 6 to 8. Jagged Blade. Projectile size increased from 0.15 to 0.20 meters. Rampage. Now deals 40 impact damage. Wound damage decreased from 100 to 60. Adrenaline Rush. Adrenaline passive healing multiplier increased from 1.25 to 2x damage dealt by wounds. Orisa. Developer comments, Orisa often gets a lot of value with her abilities, but she is underperforming compared to other tanks. Increasing her weapon damage will make her more of an immediate threat after closing the distance with the enemy team. Augmented Fusion Driver. Damage increased from 12 to 13. Winston. Developer comments, it's difficult to deal full damage with Winston's leap due to needing to land almost directly on the enemy hero. Increasing this range will improve its consistency. Jetpack. Damage radius before falloff begins increased from 1 to 1.3 meters. Wrecking Ball. Developer comments, Adaptive Shields gives Wrecking Ball a lot of leeway in a fight due to its duration. This change to Adaptive Shields limits his survivability during prolonged engagements. Adaptive Shield. Effect duration decreased from 9 to 7 seconds. Damage. Echo. Developer comments, the following changes increase the flexibility of Echo's duplicate ultimate and shift some of its focus away from the allure of building multiple copied ultimates in a single use. This puts more of an emphasis on choosing a duplicate target based on the hero's overall utility for a given situation, with the benefit of increased survivability due to transforming. Echo will get her ultimate more frequently, but it will be more difficult to generate the copied hero's ultimate. Duplicate. Ultimate cost reduced 25%. Ultimate generation decreased from 5.5x to 4x while duplicate is active. Junkrat. Developer comments, The previous adjustment to Concussion Mine's maximum damage lowered the effectiveness of Junkrat's grenade and mine combos too much, so we are increasing the damage amount slightly. Concussion Mine. Maximum damage increased from 100 to 110. Support. Ana. Developer comments, Ana's survivability has improved significantly ever since the addition of the support passive. We are reducing the amount of healing provided by the biotic grenade explosion, as she doesn't need to rely on it for self-healing as much as before. Biotic grenade. Explosion healing decreased from 100 to 60. Baptiste. Developer comments, Immortality Field provides powerful utility, but its long cooldown means that Baptiste often has to wait for the perfect opportunity to use it. We're decreasing its cooldown slightly to promote more flexibility in usage, though it will still be uncommon to see it in more than once per engagement. Immortality Field. Cooldown decreased from 25 to 23 seconds. Kiriko. Developer comments, Kiriko sometimes accidentally interrupts her kunai reload with Ofuda. Kunai now reloads slightly sooner during the animation to mitigate this. In addition, there is now a hero option, Healing Ofuda cancels reload, which can be turned off to bypass this issue entirely. Kunai. Kunai reloads after 65% of the animation has completed, formerly 75%. New hero option, Healing Ofuda cancels reload. Lifeleaver. Developer comments, Earth Shatter is an ultimate where positioning is critical to effectively use, so we are adjusting it so that Reinhardt doesn't have their ultimate be effectively cancelled when Lifeleaver uses Life Grip. Life Grip. Reinhardt is no longer a valid target for Life Grip during Earth Shatter, and using Earth Shatter will cancel Life Grip. Hero option updates. In addition to the hero balance adjustments in this update, we are implementing multiple quality of life settings for several heroes to give you the ability to custom tailor your experience of playing your favorite heroes. Tank. D.VA added the hero-specific options, Hide Boosters Cancel Text, off by default. Hide Boosters Timer, off by default. Doomfist. Added the hero-specific options, Hand Cannon UI, on by default. Hold to use Power Block, off by default. Hide Power Block Cancel Text, off by default. Hide Rocket Punch Meter, off by default. Hide Rocket Punch Cancel Text, off by default. Orisa. Terra Surge can now be activated by pressing the ultimate button again. Added the hero-specific options, Hide Fortify Timer, off by default. Hold to use Javelin Spin, off by default. Hide Javelin Spin Cancel Text, off by default. Ramattra. Block now respects holding the input through being stunned. Added the hero-specific options, Toggle Block, off by default. Hide Nemesis Form Cancel Text, off by default. Relative Aim Sensitivity during Nemesis Form, 100% by default. Relative Gyro Aim Sensitivity during Nemesis Form, 100% by default, only available on Euro-supported platforms. Annihilation Cancel Input, Ability 1 by default. Reinhardt. Added the hero-specific options, Relative Aim Sensitivity during Barrier Field, 100% by default. Relative Gyro Aim Sensitivity during Barrier Field, 100% by default, only available on Euro-supported platforms. Hold to use Charge, off by default. Hide Charge Cancel Text, off by default. Roadhog. Added the hero-specific option, Hide Whole Hog Timer, off by default. Sigma. Gravitic Flux now automatically casts when the timer runs out. Winston. Added the hero-specific option, Toggle Secondary Fire, off by default. Wrecking Ball. Pressing the quick melee button now cancels roll. Added the hero-specific option, Toggle Quick Melee during roll. Damage. Bastion. Configuration, Artillery now automatically casts when the timer runs out. Added the hero-specific options, Relative Aim Sensitivity during Reconfigure, 100% by default. Relative gyro aim sensitivity during reconfigure, 100% by default, only available on Euro-supported platforms. Cassidy added the hero-specific options, hide deadeye timer, off by default. Hide deadeye cancel text, off by default. Echo added the hero-specific options, hold to use focusing beam, off by default. Hide flight cancel text, off by default. Hide flight timer, off by default. Genji added the hero-specific options, hold to use deflect, off by default. Hide deflect cancel text, off by default. May Zero freeze can now be cancelled by pressing the abilities button again. Added the hero-specific options, hold to use cryo freeze, off by default. Hide zero freeze cancel text, off by default. Hide cryo freeze timer, off by default. Default ice wall rotation, horizontal by default. Ice wall confirmation input, primary fire by default. Pharah added the hero-specific option, toggle hover jets, off by default. Reaper added the hero-specific options, hold to use wraith form, off by default. Hide wraith form cancel text, off by default. Shadow step confirmation input, primary fire by default. Sombra added the hero-specific option, toggle hack, off by default. Symmetra added the hero-specific options, toggle secondary fire, off by default. Hold to deploy sentry turret, on by default. Teleporter and photon barrier confirmation input, primary fire by default. Default photon barrier rotation, horizontal by default. Hide photon barrier timer, off by default. Torbjorn added the hero-specific option, hide overload timer, off by default. Tracer added the hero-specific option, blink UI, on by default. Support Baptiste automatic reload setting now reloads when both primary and secondary fire are out of ammo if setting is set to off. Added the hero-specific options, default amplification matrix rotation, horizontal by default. Amplification matrix confirmation input, primary fire by default. Bridget added the hero-specific options, relative aim sensitivity during barrier shield, 100% by default. Relative gyro aim sensitivity during barrier shield, 100% by default, only available on Euro-supported platforms. Repair pack UI, on by default. Kiriko added the hero-specific options, healing Ofuda cancels reload, on by default. Lifeleaver added the hero-specific options, relative thorn volley aim sensitivity, 100% by default. Relative thorn volley gyro aim sensitivity, 100% by default, only available on Euro-supported platforms. Tree of Life confirmation input, primary fire by default. Lucio allow backwards wall ride option now on by default. Hold to crossfade options changed from off/on to off/hold for speed/hold for heal. Mercy added the hero-specific options, Caduceus Blaster input, primary fire by default. Relative Caduceus Blaster aim sensitivity, 100% by default. Relative Caduceus Blaster gyro aim sensitivity, 100% by default, only available on Euro-supported platforms. Zenyatta added the hero-specific options, Harmony and Discord Orb Cancel Reload, on by default. Hide Transcendence Timer, off by default. Bug fixes. General resolved an issue that awarded the incorrect competitive Season 3 titles for some players. Fixed a bug in the options menu that resulted in communication option changes to not save. Console fixed an issue that prevented you from navigating the competitive menu while in queue. Console fixed a bug on some consoles that prevented saving highlights. Console fixed a bug that prevented players on console from renaming custom game presets. Fixed a bug with payload and hybrid game modes displaying a debug string when a payload is pushed to the end of the map. Resolved a bug where you were unable to view some heroes' weapons and/or equipment in the hero gallery. Fixed a bug with the camera sometimes becoming askew when the player's movement was interrupted by negative statuses. Fixed an issue where some maps were missing images on the competitive progress screen. Fixed a bug where a sound prompt was missing when you ranked down in competitive modes. Maps. Antarctic Peninsula. Removed a large misplaced shadow near the capture point in the labs area. Busan. Fixed a bug with the drum in the sanctuary area, allowing player objects to be thrown/placed inside of it. Circuit Royale. Fixed some areas that allowed players to stand in unintended locations. Esperanza. Replaced the indestructible vase in the spawn rooms to a regular ceramic vase that can shatter. Please break them at your own will. Hollywood. Removed a planter near the first choke. Lijiang Tower. Fixed in a previous update, fixed a bug that allowed players to stand in unintended locations. Shambali Monastery. Fixed some areas on the map that would eat projectiles. Heroes. Ana. Fixed a bug where Biotic Grenade was only tracking self-hits. Ashe. Fixed a bug where Ashe's accuracy became inconsistent during a jump and other movements. Bastion. Fixed a bug with the assault configuration playing an old reload animation if used as soon as you spawn. Bridget. Fixed a bug which caused Bridget's extra armor during rally to not apply its 30% damage reduction correctly. Doomfist. Fixed a bug with power block not correctly reducing area of effect damage. Fixed a bug with the empowered buff from Meteor Strike not counting toward the empowered rocket punch stat. D.VA fixed a bug with D.VA's selfie highlight intro not removing the mech after the explosion when some skins were equipped. Genji. Fixed a bug where deflecting Kiriko or Lifeleaver's healing projectiles did not heal your allies. Kiriko. Fixed a bug with swift steps sometimes getting players stuck in the map. Lifeleaver. Fixed the issue with Lifeleaver's custom game controls being broken after the controls update. Fixed an issue with the pedal platform geometry not matching its projectile collision. Fixed a bug where your life grip target would bounce back if you activate the ability while you're on an enemy pedal platform and they are on a friendly pedal platform. Fixed an issue with life grip failing and going on cooldown in some cases if used at the same time as your target activated an ability. Fixed a bug where Lifeleaver would auto-swap to Healing Blossom if Tree of Life was placed while Thorn Volley was active. Fixed the placement of Lifeleaver in the Hero Gallery and Hero Select. May. Fixed a bug with Ice Wall becoming unusable until cancelled after targeting an invalid location. Pharah. Fixed a bug with Concussive Blast only tracking self-hits. Ramattra. Fixed a bug with Nemesis form failing to go on cooldown if you die during the transformation. Fixed a bug with Nemesis form not activating and enabling its cooldown if you were knocked down while Annihilation mode is active and then attempted to activate Nemesis form. Reaper. Fixed a bug with the ambush play of the game not having a sniper reticle and some sounds when certain skins were equipped. Sojourn. Resolved an issue where the disruptor could be attached to the push bot Sombra. Fixed a stat tracking issue where health pack healing was only counting self-healing. Widowmaker. Fixed a bug where Widowmaker could become stuck in a grappling animation if grappling hook was used on a moving platform. Workshop. Fixed multiple issues related to custom projectiles.